What the hell? This power's out. What the hell? What? I put these in a file. I put the file in a cupboard. I put them in the cupboard. So how are they on the floor? So, it is officially spooky season. Well, that wasn't spooky at all. Officially spooky season. And we're here to talk about, of course, Halloween H20. So, with the Thorn Trilogy officially wrapped up, they thought, where can they go next? How can they bring Michael back? So they do basically a soft reboot. One of them anyway. And they bring back Jamie Lee Curtis, and this was promoted at the time to be the big grand finale. This is going to be the end. This is Michael versus Laurie. One final face-off. Sound familiar? Because we didn't quite get that, did we? I mean, we did. But, I mean, put it this way. There are a lot of fans out there of this franchise that can look at this movie and mentally, this is the last one in the franchise for them. For them, this is it. Halloween ended here. Everything after is either a what if, parallel versions of the universe, anything. But that's the wonderful thing about this having so many timelines. You can stop wherever you want. And that's awesome. So, with the return of Jamie Lee Curtis and the unfortunate absence of Donald Pleasance, which is felt, in my opinion, especially if you're doing a marathon from Halloween 1 all the way up to this one, you do feel his absence. You know, it's there, and it's unfortunate that he couldn't have been in this, but, you know, they did show a picture of him, and for me it was wonderful. I'm really happy they did that. It was a little subtle little thing, like they shine a flashlight on his picture at the beginning of the movie. So that was wonderful. So based 20 years after the last events of Laurie Strode's arc, this basically takes place directly after Halloween 2, the 1981 version. Obviously. So basically, it's been 20 years has passed, and Laurie has basically faked her death. She changed her name. She had a son. She's the head principal of a school. So she's tried to move on, and in some ways she has. You know, she did raise a son. You know, he's 17 now, and she's obviously got promoted in school, so she has been doing well, but there clearly is some trauma there. There's some PTSD, like she's a heavy alcohol drinker. She has nightmares. She sees Michael in windows and reflections, and she sees him and she thinks it's him, but it's somebody else. So there's a lot of mental trauma still going on in her head, even 20 years later. So personally, I think this version of the traumatized Laurie Strode is the most realistic, in my opinion, and it's acted very well by Jamie Lee Curtis. They clearly did their research, you know, and, you know, she has her son that's played by Josh Hartnett, and you have a lot of actors in here, like, they're very young. You know, Michelle Williams, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you know, LL Cool J, he's fun in this movie, he's awesome. So there's a lot of characters, a lot of actors that are young, so it's fun to look back. I love watching old horror movies and you see like your favorite actor now being young and that's where they started, like, oh, that's so cool. So I love that, so awesome. A lot of them did start in horror. It's interesting, huh? But yeah, so Michael basically comes back. And what I do like about this movie is it doesn't jump straight into Michael's hair. You know, at the start of it, yes, he does kill off the nurse that was in the original 2 Halloween movies. That was Dr. Loomis's, you know, nurse. Marion, I believe her name is. You know, she got killed off, but I always admired how intelligent she was in this movie, as brief as she was in it. Like, seeing the door directly ahead of her open and you see a shadow there. Most modern day horror movies would have the character walk towards it. Oh, look, there's a shadow. Let's walk to it and get killed. No, she sees it and runs out the other door. So smart. You know, so I like how intelligent she was. And, you know, they call the police and everything. So she does all the right shit. But she does obviously get killed. But she does put up a good fight. Again, her character was awesome. Why did she have to die so soon? But I get it. I understand what they were trying to do. So, after that, the movie sort of takes a pullback on the kills, and you have certain scenes where Michael pretty much lets people live. Like the lady and her kid in the bathroom. Like he steals her car keys and he looks at her through the cubicle. He had that really kick-ass shot of him looking back at her, which I always admired as a kid. I remember I used to always rewind it. It was so fucking cool. But he let her live. He took the car though. Left them abandoned. And LL Cool J, the scene whenever he gets in past the gate and he sort of just toys with them, like hitting the window and stuff like that. He walks past him when he opens his car. So he doesn't kill him. And again, lets him go. So you have moments like that and you're thinking, why isn't he killing people? Why isn't he doing this? You know, why? I get it. Maybe he's trying to get in cleanly and not leave any evidence of dead bodies lying around and raise aware to Laurie that, fuck, he's back. You know, he probably wants to catch her off guard. So I'm guessing that's the plan of Michael. And it's quite smart if you think about it. So he knows what he's doing. And fun fact, did you know that the early production of this movie, they actually had an idea in the script to have Michael utter a single word? Yeah, no bullshit. Rob Zombie wasn't the only one who was gonna do it. This movie may have had it if they hadn't changed the script. And what the word was gonna be was Michael was gonna utter the word Laurie. And then Laurie Strode would continue spearing him with a javelin I believe I read at the time. So that was going to be in the movie, but thankfully they changed it. And yeah, Rob Zombie. The only difference is Rob Zombie did do it. You know. So I'm really glad they didn't go with that. But yeah, there's a fun fact. This movie may have possibly had Michael speak for the first time. Thankfully, didn't happen. So, what I do love also about this movie is there is a lot of cool references from other horror movies. Like you have a scene where Scream 2 is on the TV while the girls are getting dressed, which is really cool because if you remember back to Scream 1, they have the original Halloween playing on the TV. So it's a nice little, you know, of course it makes sense because Kevin Williamson is involved in this movie, so, and it also explains the Scream music that's in this movie. Whenever I was a kid, I always wondered which movie did it first. You know, because we didn't really have the internet, so we couldn't take out our phones and Google it back then. You know, it wasn't that easy. I didn't always have access to computers. So I always wondered who did that music first, this movie or Scream? Obviously now I know Scream obviously did it first. So you have lots of cool references. Psycho. Now that's another kick-ass reference that's actually referenced multiple times throughout the movie. Janet Leigh, who of course starred in the original Psycho movie and is also the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. She has an awesome scene where she's standing right in front of the actual, not a car that looks like the one from Psycho, but the actual car from Psycho that they managed to get for this tiny little gem of a scene. And just for a snippet, they play the Psycho music along with the soundtrack. It's there, but you hear it, it's subtle, and then it goes back to, you know, Halloween music score. So little things like that. And later in the movie, LL Cool J yells like, you know, Psycho at Laurie Strode. So cool little references. Love it so much. Awesome. Paying homage. Love movies that do that. And of course, we're all watching this movie for the big iconic showdown between Laurie and Michael. And like I said, after the first two kills in the beginning of this movie just builds and builds very slowly, but it builds to that third act. That's what this is all building up to, and and you feel it. Whenever it finally happens, it is worth it. It is totally worth the wait. You're sitting there, you're like, oh, your goosebumps and chills, everything. That iconic scene whenever Michael's almost getting in, he has the keys and he opens the gate and the door shuts and you have Laurie and Michael just face to face for the first time in 20 years. Amazing. Unbelievable. It gives me chills every time. And then that powerful scene where Laurie, you know, she gets her axe and she stands at the gate and she just yells Michael, and that fucking legendary John Carpenter music score just kicks in. Some of the best scenes in the entire franchise. I'm gonna be dead ass honest with you. Possibly one of the best moments. Unbelievable. So yes, it is absolutely worth it. That whole fight sequence in the third act, every single second of it is just amazing. It's well shot and it's just cool. It's fucking awesome. But the movie does have some flaws. The first of all being probably the most obvious, the mask. Once again, they struggle to make such a simplistic mask How do they keep messing this up? You know, after you watch Halloween 5 and you look at the mask, you think, it's never gonna get worse than that, right? Surely this is rock bottom. They have a CGI mask in this fucking movie. You're telling me that you couldn't have just got the mask that you were shooting this entire movie? I get it, it was like one of those last minute scenes that they added in and they were like, okay, we can't. You're telling me you couldn't spend 1 or 2 days, the 1 or 2 days that it took for you to add that terrible CGI over the actor. You're telling me you couldn't have spent those 2 days instead going to get a mask, an actual mask, and then just reshoot it? A CGI Michael Myers mask. Say what you want about Halloween Ends, but at least they used a real mask. Just saying. So yeah, multiple masks were used. Not just one. Multiple. It starts off with the Halloween 6 mask that I think looks great. It actually looks kick-ass. But after the Marion kill scene, they decided to remove it because they didn't want it to tie in with Halloween 6, which I call bullshit because it wouldn't. I understand what they're saying, but the audience aren't stupid. You know, we're not stupid. We know, okay, well, it's retconning those previous 3 movies. We get it. You know, we don't need to be spoon-fed. So they should have kept that mask. This movie would have been way better. You imagine that scene where Michael and Laurie come face to face. You imagine what that scene would have been like with a better mask. Say the Halloween 6 mask. Arguably one of the best masks in the franchise. Nothing's gonna top the original, in my opinion at least, but it's definitely up there with one of the best. So it would have made this movie way better. It's the same as if you look at Halloween 4 and you put the original mask on instead of the one they had. That movie would be miles better. But we got what we got, so it is what it is. But yeah, so the mask is an issue. The performance as Michael, I didn't really have a problem with it. In fact, there were scenes I thought they were pretty cool. Like, one of my favorite scenes in this movie would be whenever Laurie is like, you know, she's crawling on the floor underneath all the tables and Michael's just flipping the tables off. He's just not giving a fuck. Love that. So badass. It's like, I don't know what it is, but angry Michael is just so fucking amazing to watch. So cool, I love it. But again, silly little nitpicks like when Laurie's hiding under the table and she moves to another table but she makes like a lot of noise. And then she stops making all this loud fucking noise and then she sits underneath another desk like, yeah, I think I was pretty quiet. You wouldn't have heard that. And then he's right on top of, right above her on the desk. You know, you have a scene where like she's throwing all the knives, you know, and keeps missing him, and the nut shot where she kicks him in the nuts and his eyes are like, it's stupid, but it also does show the inhuman side of Michael. Let's be realistic, fellas. You know what I'm talking about here. We get kicked in the nuts, we're instantly on the floor, right? We're not standing there trying to be tough afterwards. No, we're on the floor. Let's be realistic, right? Michael took it and took a good, strong knee to the nuts. Yeah, sure, his eyes open, but that's it. So that shows there's something not human about this guy. Look, if you get hit in the nuts and you're still standing and you're not reacting, you ain't human. So, overall, the movie finally comes to a conclusion, and in my opinion, potentially the best ending of this whole franchise. I think if they had have ended it right here, like a lot of people are pissed off that it didn't. If it ended here, Michael getting beheaded at the end, perfect. That would have been one of the perfect franchise endings in horror. But unfortunately, there was contracts put in to have Michael not be killed off because they wanted more movies, and and so it's unfortunate, but I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis has gone on to tell stories about this, and she already said, "I'm sorry that I was in Halloween Resurrection." She hated it, but a lot of things going on that she didn't even know. So they came to a conclusion to kill him off, but they always had an alternative. They knew that, Michael was gonna switch with a paramedic, and it was Jamie Lee Curtis's request to have Laurie Strode put into the mental asylum in the next movie because her character killed an innocent guy. It makes sense, character morals, and she cares about the character of Laurie Strode a lot, so that speaks for itself. But yeah, perfect ending. Slightly generic, I'll be honest, the movie, but when it hits that third act and the whole build-up gets to that, it makes it worthwhile. It makes sticking with it totally worth it. Every actor was awesome in this movie. Great, totally awesome. If I were to score it out of 10, it would be, for me, maybe 7.5, I'm thinking. It's never gonna touch the perfection of the original. I'd even choose the second one, over this, but this is still a great movie. That's still worth it. I wish it had have ended here. Part of me really wishes that, but then, there's scenes that we get in further Halloween movies that I'm glad that we did get, so yeah, Halloween H20, 20 years later. Awesome. Check it out. Totally worth it. Let me know in the comments below. What did you think of this movie? Did you think it should have ended here? Did you think it was too generic? Did you think it was perfect? Let me know. We'll talk about it. And if you stuck it this long, thank you so much for watching. I wholeheartedly appreciate it, and I appreciate all of you. And as always, well, don't kill anyone.